Well, good evening, Realty Pros, and welcome to part one of our Working with Buyers series. This is a part of your new agent training. Tonight, we're going to be talking about working with buyers from the perspective of your buyer consultation. Your buyer consultation is located in two places for all of you. As we've shared, they are in your Google Slides. So within your @Porterhouse Realty Pros account, you have some slides in there, and it's one of your slides that's already prepared for you. So we recommend that you go through the entire presentation, print it out, have it bound, or put it in a binder beside your bed or whatever it is so that you can read through this information, and it's really going to help you with your confidence and the conversation points that you will be able to have with your buyers. Okay, so for the sake of tonight's training, we're going to focus on a few pages. And then for this coming Saturday, we're going to give you guys some homework. You're going to look at one of the videos that we've done. That's an elaborate video for the buyer consultation. And then we'll go ahead and do some role plays on this coming Saturday. So for now, we're going to begin at page number 9 of your Working with Buyers presentation. Mr. Porter, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and go from there.
Thank you, Jasmine. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Can you all hear me well?
Good afternoon. Yes.
Awesome. Well, for those of you who I've not had an opportunity to speak to, just want to say welcome aboard. We're so excited to have you. And of course, we believe in educating not only our clients, but we want you guys to be very well educated. Hold on, I gotta take one of these AirPods out. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so most of us are going to end up primarily working with a lot of buyers. So it's really essential that we're really good at it and we kind of understand what we're going to be dealing with when it comes to buyers, because the name of the game in real estate is about volume. It's about the number of people that you can get as your clients. It's about the number of leads that you get that you convert into clients. It's about numbers, but most important number is the number of deals that you close. And one surefire way that we found to make sure that we get a number of our deals closed, especially when working with buyers, because buyers take a little bit more effort than perhaps listing, and even working with investors, it's a lot easier. But working with buyers, it takes a little bit of intelligence. You have to understand a little bit of the psychology of a buyer, what a buyer is going to be going through. You have to know what you're trying to do, how you're trying to guide them. And the whole idea at the end of the day, again, is for you to close the deal. So I want you guys to put that first and foremost in your mind. The whole idea is for you to close the deal, okay? And you want to close a lot of deals in real estate, all right? The average real estate agent, in some companies, they're only closing 6 deals a year. We want you to close 60. It's a volume game. The more people you know, the more people you talk to, the more people you can convert into a buyer or a seller, the more pre-approvals you get, the more offers you write, the more closings you're going to have. But it's not going to happen if you don't do your homework. And this is your homework. Learning how to work with buyers, I believe, is one of the best things that you can do in real estate. And that's just me. Maybe I'm biased, but it teaches you more, I think, about the contract. It teaches you more about just people, and maybe even perhaps yourself, when you have to take a buyer through the entire process of purchasing a home, from the time you shake their hand when you're first meeting them, to explain it to them what you need, what they need to do, and what they don't need to do. And there's a lot to it, okay? But I'm gonna make it as easy as I can for you. And what we've done is we've given you this wonderful presentation. And this presentation also has an accompanying guide, which is in your Booker Mint library. It's free access. It's called the Porterhouse Buyer's Guide, and or the Happy Home Hunting Packet. And that's a 52-page document that you can actually print out. And I would highly recommend that you print a copy out, keep it next to your bed, take notes, read it, and become well-versed in the entire buyer's packet. And the reason why I'm saying that is it's going to give you a lot of information that you can share with it, just about anybody, just about anywhere in any conversation, to get them to know that you're a real estate agent, that you want to know what their real estate goals are, because everybody, no matter who you meet, they have real estate goals. Everybody want to be an investor. They want to do this. I want to do that. And the first thing I say is, do you own your own home? And that's going to get you right in the door. And if they do, then good. Are you ready to list your home? Okay. But if not, the first thing I need you to do is invest in yourself. We need to get you to become a homeowner. And I'm going to say this to you the same way I say it to just about every group of new agents we bring to Porterhouse. If you don't own a home, we want you to become your first buyer. All right. We want you to go through the process. You have to step out. You have to take the leap of faith. And if you want somebody to chaperone you through it, if you need somebody to be your buyer's agent, call me. I'll be happy to work with you to help you buy your house. But that's the idea. You want to help people buy their homes. So one of the things that this guy does, it deals with a lot of the psychology of working with buyers, and that's a whole thing. And when I'm gonna stop for a second and just ask you guys, what do you think I mean when I say the psychology of a buyer? What kinds of things come into your mind when I say that?
Your mindset.
Meaning, explain what you mean.
Let me think, Mr. Porter, on how I can explain
what
it.
would the mindset of a buyer? What types of things might the mindset of a person who may be interested in buying? What kind of things are they going to be dealing with?
Pricing, how much they can afford.
Who's that? Who's that talking? Who's that?
Joy.
Joy. You get
Yeah.
an 8. You get an A+. It's what they can afford, but what's really on their mind. You got to phrase it to a question.
How much they can be pre-approved?
Not working for, can I afford this?
Yeah. Can I afford this? Yeah.
Okay. So the buyer that's in their mind. No matter, I don't care what you're going to buy. The idea in your mind is, I know I want it, but can I afford it? All right. Can I afford this? And what's going to happen a lot of times, guys, is people are going to come to you and say, hey, Joy, hey, Talita, hey, Kristen, I want to buy a house. And I want to buy a $500,000 house. And what are you going to say to them?
Have you been
Let's get you pre-approved.
Have you been pre-approved?
How much is your pre-approval for? Now, I'm not going to say, have you been pre-approved? I'm going to say, how much is your pre-approval for? And what that does is sends them a message. It takes them off of the hot seat. It lets them know that there's something that they need to do. And they're going to be like, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, I don't have a pre-approval, or I haven't been pre-approved, or I don't know. Well, that's the first step. Let me get you over to my lender. Everybody say that with me. Let me get you over to my lender. One more time, I can't hear you.
Let me get you over to my lender.
Let me
Say
get
it
you
one
over
more
to my
time
lender.
like you really mean it. Say it like you mean it.
Let me get you
Let
over
me
to
get
my
you
lender.
over to my lender.
That's the #1 sales pitch that I've had that have made me I think I'm one of the best buyers agents out here. Let me get you over to my lender. That one sentence transforms everything you do, and it takes a lot of weight off of your shoulder. If you have a lender that is great, that you can send a person to, that lender is going to look at that person's information. They're going to call that person. They're going to get all the information they need to run them through the desktop underwriting system to see if they can be pre-approved. If they can be pre-approved, that pre-approval is what I call the golden ticket. That pre-approval tells the buyer this is how much you can afford. And a lot of times the $500,000 house, that's called the champagne dream. And then we get that buyers, their pre-approval, and we have beer bottle prices, okay? But that's okay. So when that happens, they're gonna get that pre-approval. Sometimes they're gonna be excited. Most of the time they're gonna be excited. Sometimes they're gonna be a little bit, disappointed, right? They wanted 500,000, they might've got 150. Okay, this is all a buyer psychology, guys. So when they come to you and they wanted that $500,000 house and they only got pre-approved for 150, and they call you and say, Kristen, all they gave me was 150. What are you gonna say to them?
Well, let's see what we can find.
Okay, let's see what we can find in your budget.
For you and your budget that you might
Okay.
love. That you'll...
Great. Now, what I'm trying to do, guys, is get you into the mindset of a person, empathetic mindset of a person who just received $150,000 pre-approval, but they want a $500,000 house. There's going to be a little bit more of a conversation that you're going to have with that person. But I like what you said. I really like that. Let's see what we can find in your price range. But one of the other things that I like to say, just to kind of, because here's what I want to get to, and I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase because we got a lot of information that I want to go over. We really want this buyer's consultation to be very sobering for our clients. And the reason why I say that is because if you give them too far off on things that aren't based in reality, they're going to go out in the market, they're going to be very disappointed, and then they're going to blame it on you. They're going to say that agent couldn't get me the house that I wanted. She didn't know what she was doing. They're going to make every excuse because they're not going to take the responsibility. They're not going to say, hey, I only could afford 150 and I didn't really want a $150,000 house, so I chose to continue to rent. They're going to try to blame you. So what I want you to do is help them to become sober-minded about what the market is saying. So the market has a voice. The market always has a voice. And when we say that, it means that the buyers are going to determine how much they're willing to pay for a seller's house. And interest rates are going to determine how much money you can afford at a particular time in the market. Your credit is going to determine how much you can afford. Your income is going to determine how much you can afford. And your assets are going to determine how much you can afford. So with the buyer, it's really the CIA. Everybody say CIA. I can't hear you guys. Say CIA.
CIA.
You might want to write that down. CIA stands for credit, income, and assets. That's what buyer's pre-approval is going to be based on. Okay? That's how the lender makes the determination. Right? So that pre-approval that they got, this is what I'm going to say to the buyer. I'm going to say, listen, Mr. Mrs. Buyer, I understand that you want a $500,000 house, but this is your first house. And 9 times out of 10, your first house isn't your dream house. It's your first house. What I would do if I was you is I would go get my first house and I would get used to being a homeowner and I would work on my credit. I would continue to increase my income. And then by purchasing a home, you're already going to have an asset. So in about 3 to 5 years, you can call me back and say, hey, I'm ready to go at it again. And then we can go for your next house. Your next house may not be your dream house, but it's your next house. What did I just do? Tell me what did I just do for this person?
You were direct and real with them, but you let them know that they can have what they want. But in order to do so, it's going to take time to build their credit. increase their income, and then basically said like, listen, this first house that you purchase will be your first asset, right? Like you kind of gave them a little hope.
There you
Yeah,
go.
you gave them something to look forward to.
That's right. So you have to build plans for people, because when people come to you, they're going to be bringing you three things. You might want to write, I got these three things. I got these CIA. I got another three things. This one is called FUD, F-U-D. Like Elmer Fudd, it's called FUD, F-U-D. Is you're not old enough to know what Elmer Fudd is, call me later, I'll explain it. FUD. Anybody want to take a stab at what FUD might stand for? It's an acronym. My buyers always bring them to me.
They bring them to you.
They always come to me, and I have to get them out of where they are, and I got to give them a plan. But they always going to bring you these three things, and they call them FUD. I'm not gonna hold you up. Okay, the first one is fears. They're always gonna bring you their fears. How much is this gonna cost? Can I afford it? Oh, I'm not pre-approved. This, that. They're gonna always bring you your fears. Okay, and then they're gonna bring you uncertainties. That's the U. Okay. Well, you know, maybe it's not time for me to buy. Maybe I need to keep working until I get to 500,000. Maybe I need to go with a different lender. And then they're going to bring you doubts. Well, you know what, Ms. Porter, you know, nobody in my family ever owned a home. And I don't think my family's supposed to ever own property. Okay. So whenever they bring you their fears, uncertainties, and doubts, you have to correct them with three other things. And I call those FAB, F-A-B. All right. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, the FAB. And what FAB stands for is what I'm going to give to them, because here's what's happening. In every sales transaction, somebody's going to be sold something. Either they're going to sell you on why they're not going to get a house, or you're going to sell them why they have to have one. So something's going to happen. And that's why we call you a Realty Pro, because we're telling you somebody's going to get sold. Either you're going to get sold on their fears, uncertainties, and doubts, or they're going to be sold on your FABs. And what FABs stand for are features, advantages, and benefits. All right. So what are your buyers going to bring to you guys?
Fears, uncertainties, and doubts.
And what are you going to give to them?
Features, advantages, and benefits.
There you go. So I'm always thinking of the features, advantages, and benefits. So when I told that first story, when the pre-approval, you're a little bit disappointed about the pre-approval, I went through the hard work of shaking your hand, getting to know you, giving you my card, talking to you about dreaming of buying a home, and then asking you how much was your pre-approval. You say you didn't have one. I got you over to my lender. Let me get you over to my lender. Got him over to my lender. My lender spent some time with him. We've already started working. My lender's pulled all their credit, income, assets. He's worked up the best thing that he could based upon where the person is. He's given them a pre-approval letter, which I call a golden ticket, but she might call a disappointment. So what I'm calling it and what she's calling is two different things. I'm not going to be sold on what she's saying. She's going to be sold on what I'm saying. And that's how I'm thinking about it. Okay, this is a golden ticket. This is not your dream house, but it's your first house. I don't think your first car was your dream car. You might be still driving cars because you haven't got your dream car yet. So I don't know how you think you can get your first house. It's going to be your dream house. So you're kind of walking them through that, but I'm not going to bring the car thing in there. But I'm just, you just got to be thinking along those lines. So it's your first house, and the first house might lead to your next house. And the next house might lead to the house. Are you married? No, I'm not married. Oh, well, then one day your husband and you might buy a home. And that'll be your family house. It might not be your dream house. But then one day you and your husband will be able to build your dream house. And you're going to call me, and I'm going to help you through each and every one of them. You're never going to forget me. I'm already painting for them a picture of what? The future. I'm already starting to talk about the features, advantages, and benefits. I got them married and everything. I did a pretty good job. I think I did a great job already. I should stop right here. I done got the people married. Got them into a dream house. And her and her husband building their dream house. In her mind, that's what's happening. And so now we want to go right here to this page. Now, in the buyer's consultation, guys, a lot of things prior to the pages that we're going to start with tonight. There's a lot of information. I'll go over those with you at another time, and you'll be able to see it in the video, and I'll explain to you a little bit more. In the video, you'll hear me being very explanative about the fears that we're teasing out. But we want to get the money thing on the table. We want to deal with all of those things, because by the time we get to these pages that I'm about to show you, we've already said, hey guys, you're going to spend some bit. You want to buy a house, you got pre-approved, it's 150. This is going to be your first house. But let me tell you something. You're going to have to spend a lot. You're going to have to invest in yourself. You're going to write some checks that you've never written before in your life. It's going to make your head swim. I mean, you're going to write some huge checks. You're buying a house, okay? You're not buying a car. You're buying a house. You're buying somewhere where you can put your car inside of. In fact, all of the things that you do buy, you're going to be able to put them inside this thing. So be prepared to write the biggest checks that you ever seen in your life. What am I doing right now? Why am I saying this to my buyer?
You're trying to like counteract or like diminish their fears and uncertainties, right? Like you're kind of like justifying the fact that they like, you understand their fears and uncertainties and doubts, but you're giving them like I don't know, giving them hope.
Well, actually, what I'm trying to do is I'm magnifying their fears at this point. I want to push that, because that is I'm telling you, if there's any fear that's going to cause them to sell you on the fact that they're not going to get the house, is the money. And if you don't overwhelm them, so they're putting, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to magnify this thing about money. I'm magnifying it because I want them in their mind to imagine a big, hairy, scary, audacious number. And the reason why I want them to imagine this big, hairy, scary, audacious number, because if their imagination is good enough, they might actually imagine the number that they're going to have to deal with. And that's fine, because I want them to already have it in their mind. This is what I have to wrap my mind around. They might say they can't do it, but I have an answer for that. I haven't gotten to it yet. They might say, well, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And they'll come up with a whole lot of things. And that's fine. But what I want to do is I want to magnify the money thing, because they are going to write some huge checks. Huge, ginormous checks. I'm not talking about it just like one of those big checks they give you at publishing clearinghouse. I'm talking about the amount. And I want to say that to them because I want to get it in their mind that this is the process. You're stepping into the paradigm of home buyers. They've all had to write a check that they've never written before. And you're going to have to do it too. And I can't sugarcoat it. I want them to get that through their head. And I want them to meditate on it a little bit. Now, if their imagination is such that they're thinking, I'm going to have to come up with half the money. Well, that puts me in a better position, because then when they see the real numbers, they're still going to be scary, but not as scary as what they imagine. Okay? But that money thing, you want to let them know there's nothing I can do to help you out of that particular situation, but I'll do the best that I can to save you as much on the purchase as possible. But I'm a real estate agent, not a miracle worker, but miracles can happen. Okay? We're not saying that they don't, but I don't want my buyer to go into it with that mindset. Okay? I want to be as sobering as possible with the buyer. All right. Everybody got it? Y'all still with me? Did I lose you?
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to
Yep,
make sure
got
y'all can hear me. Okay, all right. So my buyer says, well, Mr. Porter, you're talking about these big numbers, these scary numbers. I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna come up with all that money. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna get it? Well, this is the story I like to tell them. I say, well, listen, let me put it to you this way. How much is your pre-approval for? Talita, how much is your pre-approval for?
You said how much is my pre-approved?
Yeah, how much is your pre-approval for?
250.
250. All right. So Talita, here's what you're really looking at. You have a pre-approval paper, right? You call it a pre-approval. I call it a golden ticket. And this is what I actually say to my buyers. You call it a pre-approval. I call it a golden ticket because what it really is leverage. It's free money. Essentially, what's happening is this. Let's say, and let's suppose Talita. Okay, now I'm gonna switch it. Let me get Talita. I know you might know this answer. So let's switch it to Joy. You there, Joy?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, you ready? Okay, so Joy, let me ask you a question, Joy. Okay, your pre-approval is 250. You call it pre-approval. I call it a golden ticket because what happens is that you're getting leverage. Essentially, what this is saying is, let's pretend that your 250 was a bag of cash. And Mr. Cooper, who's our lender, he just came to me and dropped off $230,000 in a bag, stuck it in my office, and I called you and said, Joy, Mr. Cooper just dropped off your bag of cash, sitting in my office. He said, when you bring me the other 20,000 to give you the whole bag so you can go get your house. What time you gonna be at the office, Joy?
I'm gonna be flying to the office. I might if you sitting at the office, I might. I was gonna say I will beat you there, but you already there. I will be on my way immediately. Put it that way.
Kristen, what did just happen, Kristen? Kristen is educated. So what just happened, Kristen? What happened to the buyer's mindset?
You kind of manipulated it, right? Like you put it.
I just changed the scenario. I changed what they call it now. I changed the narrative.
Yeah.
That's all I did. Your narrative was all I did is got a piece of paper and you want me to spend all this money. No, you got a golden ticket that's equivalent to $230,000 in cash. You have to bring a down payment. These people are giving you $230,000. They don't know you.
Right.
And all they telling you is to bring a little 20,000. What time are you gonna be here? When you give it immediacy, when you give it that context, it changes everything. It changes everything. So I do say that at a part, in part of the buyer's consultation, and I'm not just saying it for effect. I'm saying it because it's the way I look at it. It's the way I want you to look at it. It's the way I want you to change the narratives that are in people's minds that lead them to the fears, uncertainties, and doubts. I want you to show them the features, advantages, and benefits. Somebody's giving you $230,000 so you can go live in your house. All you got to do is come up, scrape up, I don't care how you get it up, $20,000 and bring it to me. And if I had a bag of cash, you said you would beat me to the office. And I'm telling you, you might not have to bring it to me for 30 days. A minute ago, you said you'll beat me here in 30 minutes. I'm going to give you some time to come up with it. So what you're doing is you're getting people out of their, what I call stinking thinking. When I was in the education world, that's what we used to tell the kids, get out of that stinking thinking, okay? All right, guys. So now we're here, and I've talked you through a little bit about what it's going to take to get your person pre-approved, the kind of things that they might come back with if the pre-approval is not what they want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Features, advantages, and benefits versus the fears, uncertainties, and doubts. Somebody's going to be sold. Either you're going to sell them or they're going to sell you. They're going to sell you their FUDs or you're going to sell them the FABs. You are a salesperson. I'm looking at your licenses right now. Each one of them says salesperson. So you have a license that says you're a salesperson. They don't. They do not have a license that says salesperson. So you are the salesperson. Sell them on the features, advantages, and benefits of owning a home. And I'm gonna give you a few more. So I need somebody to role play with me who wants to volunteer real quick.
I could do it.
Who am I speaking with?
Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
So Kristen, congratulations again on your pre-approval. We need to sit down and we wanted to go through this buyer's consultation primarily so that we can be on the same page. We can find out exactly what you're looking for, but more importantly, I want to educate you on real estate, the market, how things work. I want you to know just about everything that I know, just to make my work easier. Not really, but I want you to understand everything. I want to give you some upfront pricing. I don't want anything to be hidden from you throughout this process, because I work for you. I've already talked to you about my fiduciary responsibilities to you. I've already let you know that you and you alone are my primary concern throughout this transaction. And I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and we understand the same things. But I also want to give you some insight on some of the wonderful features of home ownership. But I've been doing a lot of talking. So let me ask you a very important question. And it's right there in front of you. Why do you want to buy a home?
Everybody talks about how I get a tax deduction but I have the opportunity to build equity. So I'm tired of renting, I think.
Okay. Joy, did you want to add something to it? You can be her subconscious.
I need more space.
Okay. Talita, did you have anything? You're her imagination.
I want to be comfortable.
You say you want to be comfortable?
Yes, comfortable.
All right. All right. So you guys notice that everything that you said. Now the next slide, when Jasmine goes to the next slide, you're gonna see that everything you said is gonna be right in number one. And we summed it up in a nice way for you. And we want you to say that. Everything that you just told me, and every time I sit down with a buyer, in one way, shape, or form, the reason why they want to buy a home is because they want to improve the quality of their life, either for them or for their family, for their future, for the sake of their finances, just to get a little more space, to have something they own, to get out of renting, whatever they say. What is it, guys? It's right in front
Improving
of
their
you.
quality of life.
Improve the quality of life. And you want to say that. You want to agree with them. And then you can say, well, I heard you. So if they say something about taxes and all that good stuff, you can say, I heard you mention something about taxes. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about what you might mean. And if they don't say it, they say, well, besides the quality of life, there's some financial benefits and some tax benefits that I want to share with you. So however that conversation goes, you just got to lead into the next two lines. So this is the point where, guys, I want you to write this down. And like I said, there's a companion guide in BrokerMent, and I highly advise you to print it out. And when you print it out, if you go to page 13, you'll see this exact same page. All right. And you can write on it, and just go through it and practice it and read it. It's a lot of very good information in there that will always help you. That will always help you in any conversation that you're going to have with the buyer. Okay. So the next two, guys, this is where, this is how I go through these lines. And I'm just going to kind of go through it with you, Joy, just like, I will talk to. So one of the things that I heard you say, you mentioned something about taxes, but there's a tax deductibility of the mortgage interest as well as the tax deductibility of the property taxes. So what does that mean? Well, you're renting right now, right, Joy? Is Joy still role playing with me? The loser. Are you there,
I'm
Joy?
here. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
can
here.
you
I'm
role play
clicking,
with me?
trying
Or,
to unmute.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I will role
So,
play.
all right. So, you're renting right now, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, tell me what you get for your rent. How much is your rent, first of all?
My rent is $2,500 per month.
2,500 a month. Okay. And tell me what you're getting for that rent. Tell me what comes with that.
It's just a place to stay because I pay all of my utilities. None of my utilities are included. And at the end of the year, I don't get any form of a tax deduction. So basically just a place to stay, but no other additional benefits.
Well, let me think. Rent can't be that bad. Let's think. You gotta get something. You get a parking space?
Nope, it's
Oh,
street
geez.
parking.
Well, you get a place where you can put your stuff in.
Yep, just a dwelling. Yep, just a place to put my stuff.
All right. And you get 30 days worth of living. Is that right?
You said I get 30 days worth of
Yeah.
lending?
Every time you pay, you get 30 more days.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So you don't be renting up that bad. I want you to be a landlord one day. So you gotta help your tenants out. All right. But what we're trying to do now is get you into home ownership. And so for that $2,500, basically you're buying 30 more days. That's really what you get. And if you don't pay that $2,500 the next 30 days, then you're gonna be behind, and they're gonna start putting you out. And that's gonna be the end of your relationship with that person. You're gonna still have to pay them the money that you owe them, and they could damage your rental history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
Correct.
Now, when you take that same 2,500, now let's just pretend your rent is $1,000 a month. That'd be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Right? Let's just say it's
a lot better.
$1,000. Let's make it $1,000. I feel better just saying that. All right. So if
Okay.
your rent was $1,000, let's say if you found a mortgage somehow that was $1,000, and believe it or not, a lot of people are paying more for rent than they're going to pay for their mortgage. Right. So if your rent was $1,000, you paid $1,000 a month. You pay every month for 12 months. How much is that at the end of the year, Joy?
$12,000.
$12,000. How much of that are you going to get back in tax time?
The interest related to it.
You get the interest related to it on your rent?
Oh, my rent.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting nothing.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wow, I wanted to talk to your accountant.
No, I
Okay.
will be getting nothing back from that 12,000.
And when you pay that rent, how many things does that take care of?
Just one, and that's just having a place to stay.
Just pay. And where does that rent go to? Where does it go to?
The rent, the monies from the payment of the rent goes to the landlord.
Okay, goes to the landlord. Okay, he don't share any of that with you at all.
Absolutely not.
Wow. Yeah. And how long you been renting?
For 10 years.
So 12,000 over 10 years. That's what, 12,000.
120,000.
Yeah, you done bought a house.
Is that
You done
right?
bought a house.
Did I?
You done bought a house. You've already bought a house. And you've almost paid it off. If we were looking at the 150. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm trying to do, what we're going to do is get you into a mortgage. In a mortgage, when you make that same payment, let's say your mortgage payment is $1,000, you make that same payment, it's not going to pay one thing, it's going to pay four things. I want you to write these four things down and don't ever forget them, and remember the person that told you. Those four things are in an acronym called PITI, P-I-T-I. All right.
Principal,
P-
interest.
The P stands for principal, exactly. The first I stands for interest. The T is for taxes. And the other I is for insurance. So when you make that same $1,000 mortgage payment, instead of paying that one person, that one thing, which is your landlord, you're going to be paying 4 things. You're going to be paying back part of your principal, which is the amount of money that Mr. Cooper dropped off in that bag, that $230,000. Part of your mortgage is going to go to pay that $230,000 off. The other part is going to pay interest. That's the amount that Mr. Cooper is charging you to borrow his money over a 30-year period. Okay. Then they're going to pay your property taxes for you out of your same $1,000. And then the rest of it is going to go over to your insurance company to make sure that you have homeowners insurance on your property in case of act of God. So that same $1,000 is going to pay 4 important things for you. It's actually helping you invest in yourself. And I'm going to teach you and I'm going to help you see how not only are you going to get it back, but you're pretty much not losing anything by making that $1,000 payment. All right. So when you pay that mortgage, which is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, for about the first 15 years of your mortgage, approximately 80% of that entire payment is going to 2 things, and that's interest and taxes. So for the first 15 years of a homeowner's mortgage, about 80% of that mortgage is paid towards interest and taxes. Isn't that wonderful? What do you think about that, Joy?
I don't, you said it's paid towards interest and taxes, but then what
I said about-
happens to 80% of it is paid
Yeah.
towards interest and taxes, right?
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is.
Do you know why?
Because you're able to claim this portion of it back on your taxes.
Exactly. So if we're using $1,000 as the round number, and approximately 80% of that is going towards interest and taxes, that's $800 a month that's going towards interest and taxes. Multiply that by 12 months, that's about $9,600 that you're going to be able to write off on your taxes. And if you don't owe any taxes, guess what that means? What do you think that means, Joy?
You get all of this money back in a refund.
You get a $9,600 refund just from paying your mortgage. I told you, isn't that wonderful?
Yep, this is wonderful.
So what would you do with that $9,600, Joy?
Put it aside to save for my next property.
Okay. What else could you do with it?
Let's see. I don't know.
Anybody else want to help a subconscious imagination and you helping?
Pay down your principal.
You can pay down your principal. Well, how could
Okay.
that help me? How could that help me if I pay down my principal? Imagination.
Pay your,
Okay, somebody, you can talk.
pay your house off. Pay your house off sooner.
Pay your house off sooner. You getting that bag that might dropped off to you back to them as quickly as possible. So instead of paying 3% or 5% interest on $230,000, now you're paying it on $220,000. And next year you'll be paying it on $210,000. In the next year, you get it.
Yep.
And if you want to make a payment, you can always pay it to principal. let's think, imagination or subconscious. Can you think of any other things we could do with that $9,600? We don't want a Birkin bag. Let's think of something else we can do. Anybody else? Okay, well, let me help you. Okay.
You can do
Let me ask
repair.
you, you could do some repairs. You certainly could, but if you bought a house and it was already in fabulous repair, you wouldn't have to do that. I want to talk about ways that you can pay your mortgage. So this is what I'm gonna help you do. So let me ask you another question, Joy. Does your landlord currently allow you to pay him a little bit now and a little bit later in the month? Or does he want it all at one time?
He wants it all at one time.
I know he does. I'm a landlord. I'm telling you, I want it all at one time. Okay, so the wonderful thing about a mortgage is not only will they allow you to pay a little bit in the beginning of the month, a little bit at the end of the month, but they actually encourage you to do it. So they let you do split payments. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, what you do is you just go online to your mortgage company and set up split payments. And just by doing split payments, you're going to take 7 years off of your mortgage just by making split payments. So instead of paying $1,000 at the beginning of the month and then having to make life decisions for the rest of the month about what you're going to eat, where you're going to go until the next beginning of the month, you can pay $500 on this check and $500 on that check. Makes your life a little bit easier. And somehow your mortgage goes from a 30-year mortgage down to a 23-year mortgage, just like that. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Heard
wow.
about that, but I didn't know that that was the real thing. That's interesting.
Well, not only is it a real thing, I want you guys to be able to explain how it works. And here's how it works. You ready? When you make
Yeah.
12 $1,000 payments, how much was that again, Joy?
$12,000.
12,000. Well, what's happening now is that you're making a payment every other week. So you're making a $500 payment every other week. How many weeks in a year? Anybody?
52.
52.
52. Divide that in half. What number you get?
52 and a half?
Yeah, divide 52 in half.
26.
Okay, and then divide
26.
26. Divide 26 in half.
13.
13.
So instead of making 12 payments in a year, now you're making 13 payments a year
Oh,
just by making half payments. Mortgage is getting a lot easier, isn't it? Now, let's go back to the scenario. Now you're making those split payments, so you're not making life decisions at the beginning of the month that's going to affect the rest of your month, and then you have to make that life decision again at the beginning of the month because you got split payments. Then you got a tax write-off because 80% of your mortgage for primarily first 15 years of your mortgage are going to be going to interest and taxes, which if you don't owe any taxes at the end of the year, you're going to get a $9,600 check back that you told me already that you could put towards the principal, or you can, what do you guys say? You said something else. Wonderful. Can't remember right now. But let me tell you what else you could do with it creatively. What if you took that $9,600 and put it in an account where that $500 every other week is drawing from? What does that mean?
You have the
Well,
money already set aside for your mortgage payments.
Well, what it means is that for the first 9.5 months, you don't make a payment.
Exactly.
You
Mhm.
recycled your money.
Yep.
You recycled the same money. So that means in the middle of September, you'll be making your first mortgage payment. And then you'll pay October, November, December, and guess what? Do it all over again and when?
January.
How can you afford to not have a mortgage? What did I just do to the buyer?
Gave them hope.
No, those are features.
Excited them. Yeah.
Those are features. Those are advantages, and those are benefits. Those are features, those are advantages, and those are benefits. But like they say on the infomercial, but wait, there's more. There's more. So the other thing, besides all that tax stuff that we've been talking about, let's get out of that for a minute. The other thing is what's called the appreciation potential of real estate. How many of you have already heard and pretty much already know that the vast majority of wealthy people in America made their wealth off of investing in real estate? And the first piece of real estate that they normally invest in was the one they lived in, called the primary residence. And that's the one that you get the biggest tax breaks and the biggest interest breaks, as well as the best programs for. Your investment properties, they figure you already own a property so that you can come up with some of the money by yourself, because you're taking advantage of all of the benefits of owning a mortgage. The appreciation potential of real estate goes this way. It's an old saying that says, don't wait to buy real estate and then wait. And what that means is that real estate has a long history in America of appreciating in value over time. Unlike your Birkin bag or your Bugatti that I'm gonna get, which is when as soon as you drive it off the lot, what happens to it?
Depreciate.
It depreciates.
It depreciates, all right? And that's why home ownership is considered an asset, because it appreciates in value over time. Now think about this. Just in the COVID market alone, people who were underwater in their house, meaning their house should have went to short sale. They owed more on a house than what it was worth at the time. We actually had a client that we were about to list their house, and we were listed as a short sale. The market changed during that month. When we started getting offers, we got offers that were not only what we were asking, but they were so far above the asking price that the house was no longer in a short sale situation. That's part of the appreciation value of real estate. But that's not the example that I like to use. The one I like to use the most is one that I know well, because when they first started building the National Harbor, I was very curious and fascinated, and I drove around the harbor as they were building it, and I noticed they were building these townhouses way at the top. So I drive up to the townhouses, and I actually walked through one of the houses, and they were asking for $400,000 for some townhouses in Oxon Hill. And I grew up in Prince George's County. If you didn't grown up in Prince George's County, you don't pay $400,000 for a townhouse in Oxon Hill. It's just unheard of. I don't care where it is. Well, those same houses, those same townhouses at the National Harbor right now are selling for $1 million. That wasn't that long ago. Those houses have appreciated in value dramatically. That's the appreciation value of real estate. So you buy a piece of real estate, the likelihood is that over time, that same piece of real estate is going to increase in value over and over again. So this is one of the other reasons why it's really good that you're purchasing a home now. The other thing is the deferred gains and capital gains treatment. Do you know what that is, Ms. Joy? And underneath it, you see 250 or 500. Do you know what that is?
I want to say you're able to claim 250,000 if you're single and 500,000 if you're married as a credit.
Bingo. Not as a credit. What it's saying is that if you would have bought one of those townhouses up there on top of that hill for 400,000 and you were ready to sell it for $1 million now, so you got a $600,000 gap right there. If you were single, that's why I told you we're gonna have to get you a husband. Remember I said that a long time ago. I told you that we got to work on that. All right. If you were single, you get the first $250,000 with no capital gains tax. But if you go ahead and get that husband that I keep pushing, you get $500,000, and Uncle Sam doesn't get a penny of it. Now, how does that sound?
That sounds even better.
That's better. But wait, there's more. That's called the once in a lifetime exclusion. We've already talked about principal accumulation. You're going to have pride in your home, no landlord. And remember, we talked about leverage. Leverage means that you're going to get a whole lot of something for a little bit of nothing. Remember, Mike Cooper bought you that big bag of cash, and you just bought that little bit of nothing to get
Yeah.
that bag of cash so you can go get your house. You're going to be able to do that over and over again, because here's what else is happening with your mortgage. That principal, every time you make a mortgage payment and they pay down that principal, that's how much equity you get back on your house. So even though you're taking the money, so I don't look at it as taking money out of my account and paying my mortgage. I'm taking money and I'm buying some of the principal and putting it into the equity side of my house. The
That's
interest
still there for you to be able to utilize.
that's for me. It's me. It's for me.
Yeah.
The interest I'm already gonna get back. The taxes I'm already gonna get back. The insurance, we know they scamming us, but we gotta have it. We know that. All insurance. We gotta have it though. But just in case something happens, I pay a little deductible. That's the leverage, and I get everything fixed. Whole house burned down. I pay $2,500. They got to build my house back the way it was. Whole lot of something for a little bit of nothing. And then if you get an FHA loan, which is the best loan, you're only going to bring 3.5% for the FHA part. And then maybe another 3% or so for your closing costs. And if there are other fees in there, who cares? Look at all the benefits you're getting. What did I just do to that buyer?
Change their thought process.
That one page. That one page. Guys, if you master this one page, you'll be able to talk to anybody, anywhere about real estate anytime. You'll get them excited. They'll be in the office. They'll be signing up. They'll be your client just so they can keep hearing you talk. Then when you set up your little constant contact campaigns, you just keep reiterating that same thing over and over again, and you send it out to people. They'll love it. When you send them a little birthday notice, you get their birthday, you send them that, they'll remember it. They're never gonna forget you. And this is just stuff that you're gonna talk about in the buyer's consultation, but I want you to have it in your mind and your heart as you go out to hand out your business card so you can start a conversation about real estate. Okay? And I already told you what the real cost of renting is. The real cost of renting, and we just went through it, Joy. If you've been renting for 10 years, and if you had a cost of living increase, you done already bought a house. We all gonna buy a house one way or another. We either gonna buy it for the landlord or we gonna buy it for ourselves. And so that's what we want to do. Now, I don't know how much more time we have. Do you have some more time, Jasmine? Okay. All right.
Yes,
She
we
giving me
have
the thumbs up.
another 22 minutes.
Okay, so I want to get, guys, I want you to ask me any questions that you have before we get off of that page, because the next page is kind of simple, but that page right there is one of the pages that I use to get my buyers excited in that buyer's consultation. And I wanted to start with that page because that's not the filler, if you will, that's the stuff. Okay. So I want you guys, if you have any questions about that page and why I did things a certain way or why I walked through it that way, I really like to tell the story of that page to the buyer and get the buyer involved and have this dialogue a little bit back and forth, because now they can start to see, and they're excited. At this point, they're like, what we sign? Let's sign up. Let's do it. I'm ready to go. I ain't afraid anymore. And that's what it is. That's the features, advantages, and benefits page, right? Any questions?
Yeah, so the deferred gain and the capital gain treatment, that is a once in a lifetime exclusion. Like those
On
two
your
get
primary, on your primary residence, each time you purchase a primary residence. But you can only have one primary residence that you're living in at a time.
Oh, each time you purchase a
Yes,
primary residence, you
right,
get that no taxes once you sell it on 250 single, 500 married.
correct.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anybody else? All right. You ready for the next slide? We're gonna go through this and we'll be done. So this slide, okay. This slide is the actual, so now that we've told you all of the things that we can do, let me tell you what we need to do in order to get you that house. And then after I tell you what we need to do and what the process is to get you that house, I want you to make some promises to me on the next slide, some things that you're going to do and not going to do to make sure you don't knock yourself out of contingency for the house, all right? So the home buying process is what it is, okay? This is how it's done. Every real estate agent knows this. This is what they do know. The stuff that I just told you, a lot of real estate agents don't know, okay? Some investors know, and sometimes investors are focused on one thing or another, but that's one of the things that you need to know as a homeowner, and I want to make sure that we have some homeowner follow-up with you because I plan to be your realtor for the rest of your life, all right? But this is the process. It's pretty straightforward, and it always starts with finding a realtor that you can trust, and that's me. Obtaining a financial pre-approval, which you've already done, and analyzing your needs in a buyer's consultation. So you can check the first 3 things off your list. Now here comes the part where I need you to work with me and I want to work with you. And this is what I'm saying to the buyers, guys. All right. So the next part of it is the select, view, and write process. That's what I call it. You select, view, and write. So what happens nowadays is very different than what used to happen. Okay. What used to happen back in the days is that the husband and wife would get up and they would decide what community they wanted to live in. And they would drive to that community and they would look for yard signs. They would call the person on the yard sign. The person that they called was actually the seller's agent. There was no buyer's agent. So the buyer's agent, the seller's agent represented the seller and never represented them. And they could easily get taken for a ride and lose a lot of money. My job is to protect you and to try to save you as much money in the process as possible. But I have to give you an accounting, and I want to be very upfront with you about the money that you're going to have to invest in yourself in order to get this property. Notice I didn't say spend. Okay. The amount of money that you're going to have to invest in yourself in order to get this property. We've already talked about all of that. They're already thinking in that mindset. I want to keep them in that mindset. Okay. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to save you the trouble of driving around communities looking for yard signs because we got the internet and we have the MLS, and you know, I'm sure that you're familiar with Zillow, but I wouldn't use Zillow if I was you. I wouldn't use Redfin or any other commercial websites because they're feeder sites that feed off of this MLS system that I'm going to send to you, which have actual properties that are on the market right now. What Zillow and some of the others will do is send you properties that may or may not be on the market at the current moment to see if you're going to click on them, and then they'll try to sell your name to me or to another agent to say, hey, this person is looking for a property in your neighborhood that you paid for to list for. And so that's how they make their revenue. They're not doing you a service. They're just trying to see what you're interested in so that they can sell a name to me or to other real estate agents who needs leads. So kind of stay away from Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and all those other websites because that's what they're doing. The site that I'm going to send you is the direct feed. It might not be as sexy and pretty as Zillow and all of that because they only pick the sexy stuff to put out there for you so you can, you know, click on it and call it. They can give me your name so I can call you. But this is just the real deal. So what you see is what you get. And the first list that I'm going to send to you is the list that I call the big ball of wax. And the reason why I call it the big ball of wax is because these are properties that other people have seen and passed up, and they want to or haven't written an offer on or haven't gone to contract yet, the new properties that are coming on the market and the properties that are about to come on the market that are going to be listed as coming soon. Those are the properties that I'm going to send to you. And it's called a big ball of wax because that's probably the largest list that you're going to get is that first list I send to you. And then after that, you filter through them. You're only going to get a trickle here and there every time people add a property. You won't see the same old properties that you already looked at. You'll see new properties as they come on or other properties that are coming soon. But it won't be as many as the big ball of wax, and I'm going to send you immediately. When you get this big ball of wax, husband and wife, what I want you to do is I want you to go through this big ball of wax as quickly as humanly possible, and I want you to collect about 10 homes out of the big ball of wax. So if I send you 60 or 100, just narrow it down for me to 10. But once you narrow it down to 10, don't call me. You all argue with each other. And then after you finish arguing, husband, you give up all of yours and you pick the 3 that she likes the best. Just helping you out, okay? When you get those 3 that you all agree that you love the best, you call me. I'm going to schedule an appointment for us as soon as we possibly can because houses are not lasting on the market. We have to go see them quickly. We're going to go see those 3 houses and we're going to have to write an offer on one of them because the 3 of them are going to be gone tomorrow. If you love them, other people love them and they're willing to fight for them. And so we have to come to the table with our A game. All right. Now, back in the day, we used to tell you to come with about 1% earnest money deposit. What I'm going to recommend for you to do now is come at least with 2%. If you can, 3% earnest money deposit. What that money is the money that you're saying, hey, if you kick all these other people out, not only am I going to give you this price, but I'm going to put this much money up on the home and let you know I'm very serious about the purchase of this home. And should I forfeit or violate this contract for any reason that's not articulated, you get to keep that money. That sounds very good to by now. Here's the thing. I've never lost earnest money deposit, Mrs. Buyer. Don't want you to be worried about that. But that's what it says to the seller, that you're very, very serious about this home, okay? But that 3%, that 2% is just money that's set aside that's going to be used towards your down payment that you have to come up with anyway. So it's just setting an escrow, and it's setting an escrow on that particular property to knock everybody else out of contingency from getting a home so that they ratify and lock in with you and you alone. Once we get to the point where we're ratified or we're about to be ratified, there may be some negotiation going back and forth. Essentially, the seller's gonna say, I like this about your contract and I love the earnest money deposit and I love the price, but I might need a little bit more time to move. Or I might want to go to closing a little quicker. Or I don't want to offer you a home warranty because my house is impeccable. Okay, fine. Don't worry about those things. Those things are things that we can ask for. They're nice to have. They're not need to have. What we need to have is you in that house at settlement day. That's what we need to have. So once we get to that part and we accept the contract, what I'm going to do is immediately I'm going to schedule your inspection. We want to do the inspection within the first 48 hours of ratification. Because what we're going to do with that inspection report is even if we tell them in the contract that we're accepting the property as is with inspection, we're going to do an inspection. I'm still going to write up what the inspector says on the report, and I'm still going to ask for them to fix those repairs for you. They're probably going to say no. But sometimes they say yes. That's going to save you a ton of money. Any questions? Any questions, guys?
No.
All right.
No.
While we're going through that process, you're also going to have to go and start to complete the mortgage application process. So I'm going to send you back to my lender. Remember that lender that gave you the big bag of money? You got to go to him now and actually tell him I need the money. I found a house. Here's the house. This is the money. I need the money on this house. And he's going to pull your credit, income, and assets again. Nothing can change. Do not do anything strange with your credit, income, and assets while you're buying the house. I'll give you a little bit more about that on the next slide, okay? He's going to pull your credit report and he's going to take it to the underwriter. The underwriter's job is to protect the bank's money. The underwriter and the lender work for the same bank. The lender's job is to spend the bank's money. The underwriter's job is to not let him spend the bank's money. So these two people are working in offense and defensive positions. Michael Cooper is on your team, as am I. You can look at me like kind of like your attorney. Michael Cooper will be your priest. Okay, tell him everything that could come up and haunt you from your past that he might not be able to see on the credit reports, because the underwriter is going to find it. She is a detective of finding out who you are and who this person is that we're going to be giving this bag of money to, because they're really going to be giving you a bag of money in about 29 days from now. All right. So we want to make sure that you have the best picture painted possible by the offensive man who's the lender, Mr. Michael Cooper, in the case of Porterhouse. Okay. Once he gets you through underwriting, he's going to obtain that loan approval. Once that loan approval is done, now they're going to ask us for a termite survey, which we'll already have done when we get the inspection. All right. Sometimes they ask for it, sometimes they don't. We do it every time, just in case. All right. At that point, the lender is going to tell you that you need to contact an insurance company, and then you're going to need to set up your utilities, because guess what? You're about to get your house. During that period of time, the title company has already been contacted. They've been looking through the title. They've been trying to clear the title of any clouds and encumbrances. Clouds and encumbrances are ways that people can come back and say, hey, I have a right to this property, or I'm attached to this property in this way or that way. The title company's job is to make sure that your title and your deed is free of any liens and encumbrances that may have been attached to it before. And once they deliver it to you, they're going to also give you an insurance policy that guarantees it against anybody ever coming back to say that they own or have an attachment to that property. You're going to have an insurance that that property is yours and yours alone. Title insurance is very important to have. You're going to close on the property, take possession of your new home. You're going to be very happy with me, and the upfront monies that you're going to pay are right there in front of you. But again, these are not even the big checks that you're going to write. That's just a little bit of money that you're going to need to come up with. That's the little bit of nothing for the whole lot of something. Any questions?
No.
Anybody?
No questions.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Byer. So in order for all of that to work, this is what you have to do. You have to follow these 10 commandments. If you don't follow the 10 commandments, the Lord is going to strike you that no, it's not going to happen. If you don't follow the 10 commandments, you probably are going to knock yourself out of contingency getting your house with any other lender. However, because we work with the best lender in this area, his name is Michael Cooper, he still can salvage the relationship with the underwriter, even if you do violate, but don't test it, please. He's 99% right now. In other words, every pre-approval that he has ever given me, he's closed 99% of them. That's why I work with him. Don't make him go down to 98%. Please. Here's how we do it. Thou shalt not change jobs, become self-employed, or quit your job. Not now, you're buying a house. After we get your house, you can do what you want to do, but you might be having to sell your house. If you quit your job or trying to become self-employed, just give me a call. Thou shalt not go buy a car, truck, or van, or you may be living in it. Thou shalt not use your charge cards excessively or let your accounts fall behind, even if Macy's is having a sale, and if you apply for their credit right now, you get a 20% discount on your purchase. Do not apply for it. If you already have it, fine, don't use it. You're buying a house, okay? Thou shalt not spend money that you have set aside for closing. No matter what. If you have a gambling addiction, call the gambling hotline. Don't go to the casino with your money. Thou shalt not omit debts and liabilities from your loan application. Remember, I told you that the underwriter is going to find out, tell Michael Cooper everything. And this is where I tell people this story about a young lady who had a debt way in the past, maybe 13 years in the past, and she and her fiance were buying a house, and the underwriter found it, and her loan was not going to get approved at all. They were going to deny it. But because she was working with Mr. Cooper, I told you he's the best in the business. He said, wait a minute, before you deny it, what if the fiance, he had nothing to do with her debt? And then she called her father. So the fiance and the father end up purchasing a home together. So the young lady used the men in her life to get the house that she wanted. That's a bad woman. That's a bad woman. I was really, I was proud of her. All right, but she got her house. And they have a swimming pool in the backyard, and they promised me I could come swimming. I've never been. I'm gonna take them up on it. All right, thou shalt not buy furniture. Now, I'd say this one was one we put in the book when we had a client who chose to buy her furniture before she bought a house. When she got the pre-approval, remember we was talking about she wanted a $500,000 house, and she only got a pre-approval for a $150,000 house. And yeah, so she went and bought furniture for a $500,000 house and couldn't fit it in any of the houses that she was pre-approved for. But we still got her a house, all right? Thou shalt not originate any inquiries into your credit. Thou shalt not make large cash deposits without first checking with the loan officer. A large cash deposit could be as much as $50 in cash that we cannot trace. The underwriter could ding it, and it could actually knock you out of contingency for purchasing a home. So cash meaning the green stuff, the stuff that you got stuffed under your mattress, the stuff that you cannot use in the purchase of a home unless you have enough green stuff to buy the whole home. But if you're going to get a loan for it and you got cash, the underwriter is going to say that's very suspicious. We don't want to get involved in anything illegal. So we don't know where that cash came from. We can't approve your loan. And those are the ones that Mike Cooper has the hardest time trying to recover from. Believe it or not, the cash ones. When people have cash that we call it magic cash, it just pops up out of nowhere. If it can be sourced or traced, it's fine. Even a money order is considered cash in a lot of instances, okay? All right, thou shalt not change banks, even if they make you mad. They're not open when you need them to. They're being rude to you, not until you close on your home. And the last but not least, thou shalt not sign or co-sign a loan for anyone, not even your children, mother, father, anybody. Now, you and your husband, you already co-signed. Okay, but other than that, don't do it. All right, any questions, guys?
No questions.
All right, so let me ask you a question. How does my buyer feel right now?
I should feel pretty good.
Does my buyer feel empowered?
Definitely.
Yes.
Do they feel like they know something about real estate now?
Yes.
This is what the Porterhouse way is, guys. This is what separates us. This is what enables us to close on so many homes. We educate our buyers. We empower them. We share information with them. We don't withhold it. We give them what we have. We encourage them. We show them the features. We show them the advantages, and we show them the benefits. And sometimes, even after doing all that, it might not work, but I guarantee you that you will close more homes if you use the formula that we are teaching you than you ever will doing it any other way. And the first step is, let me get you over to my lender. Anybody that ever says the word, I want to buy a house, how much is your pre-approval for? Let me get you over to my lender. Those are my words. Just stand in front of the mirror and keep saying them. How much is your pre-approval for? Let me get you over to my lender. Because if you start doing anything else, you're not building your system. The lender sends you that pre-approval back, bam. You call that buyer, say, it's time for me to schedule a buyer's consultation with you. How is Monday looking for you? How is Saturday looking? How's this evening? Can you meet me at the Starbucks in a few minutes? Whatever you can do the buyer's consultation and do it extremely well. We're there for you. We're going to be there. Mr. Porter's going to be there, or Curtis, or Jasmine, or whomever. We'll be there to go through your first buyer's consultation with you, but you have to build that muscle to just do it. You're going to make mistakes. Well, so what? You're not going to say everything that I just said, but as you do them over and over and over again, it becomes natural to you. Then you really sound like not just a realty pro, but an expert. And you're already pros because you're going to start studying this page. You're going to listen to the video that Jasmyen's going to assign to you, and you're going to start practicing this language. You're going to print out that 52-page Porterhouse buyer's guide that's in BrokerMent under working with buyers. You're going to write in it. You're going to put pity. You're going to make sure you write that page up as much as possible, as much as you can remember. You're going to go back and look at this video. And you're going to get this thing over and over. And maybe when you get that buyer, you'll say, Mr. Porter, no offense, I don't need you. I got this. That's going to make me happy. You are empowered to do this. You're not new agents anymore. You're realty pros. You can do this. That's all I wanted to say. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope you got something from it. I hope you see how the mindset of the buyer initially is going to be fears, uncertainties, and doubts. So you have to have a lot of features, advantages, and benefits. Did you know? Well, did you know? Well, did you know the tax deductibility? Did you know the tax deductibility of the insurance? Do you realize that if you're paying rent that over 10 years, do you realize how much you've already bought a house? Why not just go ahead and do it? You about to write some scary checks, but all home buyers had to, and you can do it too. There's no difference between them and you. It's just that they had the courage to do it, and if I guide you through it, I guarantee you're going to get your house. You have to talk with that same confidence. The first time I did it, I wasn't sure that it would close, but when it did, I was like, wow, this really works. The best advice my old broker gave to me when I became a realtor, he said, whatever JasmyenPorter tells you to do, do it. And that has been the one thing that I listened to that I didn't want to listen to when he said it. I thought he was going to say something profound. He said that, but it actually turned out that was one of the most profound things he could have said. And Jasmyen is very nice to you. I don't know why she's so nice. She hazed me. I'm talking, and I hope this is being recorded. You can stop the recording, Jasmyen, if you want. I don't know if you have something else you want to say because I was starting to clown. All right, guys, I'm off the soapbox.
I'll go ahead and stop the recording so you can clown as needed.
No, I'm off the soapbox. And I was just really saying, guys, listen, we are here to serve you guys so that you can serve your clients. And then you can, show that Porterhouse spirit, because this is what we're all about. We're all about empowering clients. We're all about really ministering to people and helping people get into the home ownership dream. And man, it's so exciting when you get to go to closing, and then, we even like to do the housewarming and get to know their friends and family. And guess what? They become our clients. You plan a housewarming for somebody and they don't know who you are. Hold on, your realtor's your friend? How long you known him? I just met him. But he's wonderful, isn't he? And he gave me this gift, and he's bringing me another gift at the housewarming. It's okay. You got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in your business. You are the number one thing that you're selling, is you. You're a salesperson, not the buyer. The buyer is what the buyer. So make them buy what you're selling. And when they get to the point where they say, okay, well, I looked at the first 3 homes, but you promised you would write an offer on one. So let's just write the offer on the best one. Tell me which one that is. I'll let you think about it. Call me tonight and tell me which one we're gonna write. Put some pressure on them. They're not gonna fire you. They might ghost you a little bit, and then you let them off the hook. Say, hey guys, haven't heard from you. House has gone off the market, so I guess we got to go back to the drawing board. It's okay. But we're going to talk more about the buyer's process, I guess Saturday.
Yes.
And
Saturday
we'll go through some of the other pages.
until noon.
But Jasmyen, you can go ahead and take over. And I hope I didn't do too terrible of a job, because you're the guru. But I just want to encourage you ladies, listen, go out here, start, your first sale is not going to be your $1 million sale. But when you have that $1 million sale, we're going to celebrate. And I'm saying it to you, like I said, to Curtis Price and many others, when you get that $1 million sale, it's going to change your life. It's going to change everything that you do in real estate. You're going to see that this is real, and you can make as much money in real estate as you can handle. You just have to do the hard work, and this is where it starts. You got to memorize your stuff. You got to read. You got to study. You got to know these pages, and you got to be willing to communicate with boldness and beauty that I know you all possess. Because I've seen those pictures that they be sending over at Jasmine. I mean, some beautiful, powerful women. Hey, and y'all can go out here and take the real estate. Hey, look, they let an ugly guy like me get out there. You guys can take this market by storm. Just do the homework. Get on your grind. Let's go. All right, go Porterhouse. Let's go. I'm off.
All right, Mr. Porter, great job. I will give a round of applause for you. That was excellent information. As always, guys, our trainings are recorded for you, so they will be made available on Porterhouse International Realty Group, our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to go back and do exactly what Mr. Porter said. Go to BrokerMint, look at the full buyer consultation, memorize it. Listen to this video so that you can go through those talking points. We are about 5 minutes over time, so I'm gonna go ahead and end for tonight. We will be meeting again Saturday morning from 9 until noon. We will complete our Working with Buyers series, so we have several more pieces to cover. If you guys need anything, let us know. I'm gonna go ahead and formally dismiss us for the night. I will end the recording here. If you have a couple questions, I'll remain on the line for a minute or two afterwards. But otherwise, you guys have a phenomenal rest of the evening, and we will see you on Saturday morning. Have a good night.